When you buy a vehicle with a reputation for being, absolutely indestructible, you carry a certain set of expectations with you.
Oh, absolutely. You expect it to just work.
Right, exactly. Like you load up your family for a long highway trip, and you just assume the fundamental structural components of that machine are beyond question.
You don't even think about them.
You really don't. And Toyota spent decades building, essentially the automotive equivalent of a fortress. They have this legendary world-renowned reputation for engineering vehicles that simply do not fail under normal conditions.
Yeah, they are the gold standard for reliability.
But, even the biggest titans of manufacturing operate in a reality governed by physics and these incredibly complex supply chains.
Right, things happen.
Exactly. Sometimes things slip through the cracks. So our mission today in this deep dive is to cut through the noise and the panic that usually accompanies a massive automotive recall.
And really look at the facts.
Yes, exactly. We're examining a recent CarBuzz article by Joel Stocksdale, and it details a very serious recall for Toyota's newest, biggest SUVs. We're talking about the 2026 Toyota Grand Highlander and its luxury sibling, the Lexus TX.
Two massive, massive vehicles.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, let's unpack this. We want to understand what is actually physically breaking on these heavy unibody vehicles, how the industry catches these hidden flaws, and, why the terrifying headlines you might be seeing are missing a much more fascinating underlying story.
Yeah, because what's fascinating here is that when you look past the whole suspension collapse headline, you quickly realize you aren't looking at a fundamental engineering design flaw.
Wait, so Toyota didn't just design a weak vehicle?
No, not at all. The geometry, the blueprints, they are totally sound. What we're actually examining is a highly specific manufacturing hiccup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a lapse on a supplier's assembly line that compromised a single highly stressed component well before it ever reached a Toyota plant.
That is wild.
It is. And exploring the failure of this one specific part actually gives us a masterclass in how modern vehicles keep us safe. And ironically, how robust the safety net has become even when a physical part is compromised.
Well, I want to get right into the anatomy of that defect.
Yeah.
Because if we were talking about these specific models, the Grand Highlander and the Lexus TX, we were talking about really heavy vehicles.
Oh, huge. 3 rows, heavily equipped.
Right. They carry a tremendous amount of weight, especially at high speeds. And according to the recall documentation cited in the article, the specific part failing here is the rear axle carrier. Specifically both the left and right sides.
Yep, the rear axle carriers.
And the article notes that these carriers are made of forged aluminum. Now, my understanding is that forging aluminum is supposed to make it incredibly strong.
It normally does, yeah.
But the supplier missed some crucial manufacturing processes, which kind of makes me think of like baking a cake, right?
Okay, baking a cake.
Yeah, like you can mix the flour, the sugar, the eggs perfectly. But if to pull it out of the oven 10 minutes early, it looks like a solid cake on the outside. But the internal structure just collapses the second you cut into it.
That's a fun analogy.
Yeah.
Baking definitely gets at the idea of an unfinished process. But to really understand why this specific forged part fails, we need to look at it on a molecular level.
Okay, take me to the molecular level.
So a better way to visualize the difference between standard cast aluminum and forged aluminum is to think of a box of dry spaghetti.
Okay, dry spaghetti.
Right. If you take that spaghetti and just dump it into a random tangled pile, that is essentially cast aluminum.
Got it. Just a messy pile.
Exactly. The grain structure is random, and while it holds a shape, it can be pretty brittle if you apply sudden force to it.
Oh, okay.
Forging, on the other hand, is like taking that spaghetti and packing it tightly into a perfectly aligned bundle. The heat and the immense physical pressure of the forging process force the metal's grain structure to align with the shape of the part.
Which gives it that immense structural integrity.
Spot on.
Okay, so the forging aligns the grain. But what was the step that was actually missed? Like, how does a perfectly aligned piece of metal suddenly become weak enough to trigger a massive recall?
Well, when you forge aluminum, you don't just smash it into shape and ship it out.
Right.
There are critical heat treatment and quenching cycles that lock that molecular structure into place. Processes like artificial aging.
Artificial aging, okay.
Yeah. If a supplier skips or even just abbreviates one of those thermal cycles, the part will leave the factory looking dimensionally perfect.
It looks like a finished cake.
Exactly. It will pass a visual inspection, it'll bolt onto the car perfectly, But internally, that tightly packed bundle of spaghetti hasn't been hardened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is significantly softer and weaker than the engineers calculated, and that becomes a critical danger because of where this carrier sits in the rear suspension.
Right, because the documentation points out that the real danger zone is where this weakened carrier attaches to the tow control arms.
Yes, the tow control arms.
And for anyone trying to visualize a tow control arm, just look down at your own feet, right? You can point your toes inward toward each other, or you can point them outward.
Right.
In automotive geometry, toe refers to exactly that angle, like how much the front or rear wheels point inward or outward relative to the center line of the car.
Exactly.
So the tow control arm is this specific lateral link holding that wheel at the precise angle needed so the vehicle tracks straight down the road.
And maintaining that precise angle is completely vital when you consider the dynamic forces at play here.
Because it's a huge SUV.
Right. When a heavy SUV accelerates, brakes, or takes a corner at highway speeds, the weight of the vehicle shifts dramatically.
Yeah.
The wheels naturally want to pull inward or push outward under those shifting loads. So the tow control arm is under constant, immense tension and compression, just fighting those forces to keep the wheel perfectly aligned.
So what does this all mean for the driver? Like, let's apply those physics to the real world.
Okay, let's do it.
You are driving a 2026 Grand Highlander on the interstate. You're doing 70 miles per hour. You hit a bump or you apply the brakes, which shifts the weight of this massive SUV, and that underprocessed soft aluminum axle carrier suddenly shears off at the tow control arm connection.
If that connection shears, the toe alignment on that rear wheel instantly changes, and it's completely uncontrolled by the suspension at that point.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The wheel is suddenly free to jerk violently inward or outward.
Oh.
At 70 miles per hour, your rear suspension is essentially steering the back of the car in a completely different direction than your front wheels.
That sounds like an absolute nightmare.
It creates an immediate, severe oversteer condition. The vehicle becomes highly unstable. The driver would feel a sudden aggressive pull from the rear end, which, depending on the speed and the driver's reaction, can easily lead to a total loss of control.
And a crash.
And a crash, yes.
Okay, so if the physics dictate that a snap tow arm at highway speeds results in an immediate and violent loss of control, and we have a recall involving thousands of these heavy SUVs, we should be seeing reports of highway pileups, right? We should be seeing a wave of catastrophic failures. But the CarBuzz article clearly states there are 0 reported incidents and 0 injuries. Not a single crash.
None.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because this feels like a massive contradiction. How is that even possible?
It does seem contradictory until you look at how the failure was actually discovered.
Okay.
The reason there are no crashes isn't because the physics are wrong, and it isn't because the drivers just got super lucky. It is because of the incredibly proactive tracking mechanisms built into the modern global supply chain.
So someone caught it early.
Yes. This defect wasn't discovered by, an accident investigator analyzing a crushed vehicle on a highway. It was discovered by the supplier themselves.
Wait, the company that made the bad parts caught their own mistake?
They did. The supplier was conducting an audit of their own manufacturing and quality control processes.
Oh, wow.
And they realized that a specific batch of these forged aluminum axle carriers had bypassed a crucial manufacturing step.
The thermal cycle.
Exactly. Once they identified the lapse in their own records, they immediately raised a red flag and alerted Toyota.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and then Toyota took those specific carriers from that batch, put them through rigorous internal stress testing, and confirmed that over time, the weakened metal would likely succumb to fatigue and snap.
Okay, but we need to talk about the scale of this recall and how Toyota actually tracks a part like this.
Right.
Because the recall covers exactly 5,408 vehicles.
Yes, 5,408.
I have the breakdown right here. It's 2,449 hybrid Grand Highlanders.
Right.
1,510 non-hybrid Grand Highlanders. 11,191 non-hybrid Lexus TX models, and fewer than 300 of the hybrid and plug-in hybrid TXs.
Yep.
How does Toyota know that exactly 5,408 cars are at risk? Like, if a supplier just says, hey, we messed up a batch last month, how do you isolate that to a specific 5,400 vehicles out of the hundreds of thousands Toyota produces?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture of just-in-time manufacturing, we see the power of lot tracking.
Lot track.
Yeah. When a vehicle is assembled today, it isn't just bolted together, it is digitally documented.
Okay.
Every major structural component, like an axle carrier, has a lot number, a batch code, or a barcode. When a worker on the assembly line picks up that carrier to bolt it onto a chassis, it gets scanned and permanently married to that specific vehicle's VIN, or vehicle identification number, in a massive database.
Ah. So when the supplier realized they missed the heat treatment on, say, batch 402, Toyota just searched their database for batch 402.
Exactly.
And they found exactly which 5,408 VINs were on the factory floor during the window those parts were delivered.
That is the exact mechanism, but it goes even deeper than that, which actually brings us to the most reassuring statistic in this entire report.
Okay, hit me with it.
Out of those 5,408 recalled vehicles, Toyota estimates that only about 5% actually have the defective parts installed.
Wait, really? Only 5%?
Mm-hmm.
But if they can scan the barcodes and marry the part to the VIN, why is it an estimate? Shouldn't they know exactly which cars have it?
Because of how just-in-time manufacturing distributes parts. A batch of axle carriers from a supplier isn't necessarily delivered in a sequential line to one single factory.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, a massive bin of parts might arrive at a staging area. Some might get loaded onto a line producing the Grand Highlander in Indiana.
Right.
Others might just sit in inventory. Some might have been mixed in with perfectly good batches. The database tells Toyota that those 5,408 vehicles were assembled during the exact time frame and on the exact lines where that compromised batch was available in the parts bins.
Ah, okay, that makes total sense. So the 5,408 number isn't the number of broken cars.
No, not at all.
It is the size of the suspect pool. It's the net they have to cast to make sure they catch every single bad part.
Exactly.
And statistically, based on the size of the bad batch versus the good batches in the bins that day, only about 270 of those vehicles actually ended up with the weakened aluminum carrier.
Yes. And that 5% reality dramatically changes the scope of the consumer impact.
Yeah, let's bring this down to the driveway of the person listening to this right now. If you own a 2026 Grand Highlander or Lexus TX and your VIN falls into this suspect pool, you have a 95% statistical probability that your car is perfectly fine.
Right, which is great news.
But because the consequence of that 5% risk is a loss of highway control, you still have to take action. The recall mandates a visit to a local Toyota or Lexus dealer.
And it is a very targeted diagnostic visit. When you bring the vehicle in, the dealership technicians aren't tearing apart your whole suspension blindly.
Right.
They know exactly where to look. They will inspect the specific lot numbers or casting marks on the axle carriers that are currently fitted to your car.
It's essentially an audit at the dealership level, like getting a routine dental x-ray. You probably don't have a cavity, given the 5% stat, but you absolutely have to check.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
They are verifying the barcode on the car against a list of known bad batches from the supplier. And if your car has the bad part, they replace the axle carriers entirely with properly forged components at no cost.
Yep, completely free.
And if they check the lot numbers and see you have the good parts, they sign off on the paperwork and you just drive home.
It is an inconvenience, certainly, but a highly structured, data-driven one that removes the danger entirely.
Now, speaking of how the public reacts to this kind of inconvenience, there's a fascinating cultural element to this recall that CarBuzz highlighted.
Oh yeah, the comment section.
Always an adventure. They pulled a comment from a user going by NNK who read about this suspension recall and immediately commented, quote, "More proof that the best vehicles Toyota makes are their line of electric SUVs."
Right.
Now, I want to be abundantly clear to you listening right now. We are completely impartial here.
Totally impartial.
We are not taking a stance on the EV versus internal combustion engine debate, but I have to examine the logic of this specific public reaction.
Please do.
A supplier messes up the heat treatment on a forged aluminum suspension bracket, and it instantly becomes a talking point about electric vehicles being superior to gas vehicles.
Yeah.
Don't EVs use suspension systems too?
They absolutely do. This raises an important question about how modern consumers filter information. We are currently living through a massive, highly debated industrial transition regarding vehicle propulsion.
Right, the move to electric.
Exactly. And because people are so invested in these macro narratives, whether they are pro-EV or pro-combustion, they tend to project those broad debates onto entirely unrelated micro-level mechanical issues.
Interesting.
The user is attempting to find validation for their preference in a space where it simply doesn't apply.
Because as we broke down earlier in the numbers, this recall affects all powertrains.
All of them.
It affects the pure gas models, the standard hybrids, and the plug-in hybrids. The tow control arm and the axle carrier do not know and do not care
Right.
What kind of engine is sitting under the hood?
The laws of physics are completely powertrain agnostic.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Exactly. A piece of forged aluminum is tasked with managing the dynamic weight transfer of a unibody chassis. And in fact, if we want to get really technical, electric vehicles are typically much heavier than their gas-powered counterparts due to the density of the battery packs.
Oh, right.
So that extra mass means an EV relies even more heavily on the exact same suspension principles we are discussing today. If an electric SUV were fitted with this same weakened, under-processed aluminum bracket, the dynamic forces of a heavier vehicle would likely cause it to fail even faster.
It is just wild to see how quickly a simple metallurgical failure gets drafted into a cultural war.
Oh, instantly.
A factory worker, or like an automated oven, misses a quenching cycle on a suspension bracket, and suddenly it is being used as ammunition in a debate about the future of global energy consumption.
It really shows that having the facts isn't just about understanding your car.
No.
It's about not getting swept up in illogical online narratives.
Exactly. Which is why looking at the actual mechanism of a failure is so vital. It strips away the brand tribalism and the dramatic headlines,
Yeah.
and it forces you to confront the engineering reality, right?
Bad metallurgy leads to weak parts.
Right. And weak parts fail under stress, regardless of what makes the wheels turn.
Exactly.
So let's distill this entire journey. We started with Toyota, an automaker practically synonymous with bulletproof reliability, issuing a recall that sounded terrifying on the surface.
A suspension failure on their heaviest 2026 unibody SUVs.
Right. We looked closely at the metallurgy of forged aluminum and how missing a crucial heat treatment process left these axle carriers molecularly weak, despite looking perfectly fine on the outside.
And we explored the suspension geometry, specifically how those carriers connect to the tow control arms.
Yes, the feet pointing in and out.
Exactly. We detailed how those arms fight the dynamic forces of a heavy vehicle to keep the wheels tracking straight, and how a structural failure at highway speeds would cause the rear wheels to steer independently.
Leading to a sudden loss of control.
Yeah.
But then we looked at the numbers, and the reality of the situation completely changed the narrative. Out of a suspect pool of 5,408 Grand Highlanders and Lexus TXs, there have been 0 crashes.
Which is incredible.
The crisis was averted because the supplier audited their own manufacturing processes, realized a batch missed its heat cycle, and utilized the massive data tracking of just-in-time manufacturing to isolate the exact window those parts were used on the assembly line.
And we learned that because of how parts are distributed in modern factories, only an estimated 5% of that suspect pool, so roughly 270 cars, actually have the compromised aluminum carriers bolted to their chassis.
Meaning the required dealer visit is really just a data verification check.
It's just an audit.
Right. It is so easy to let your newsfeed thrive on the panic of a catastrophic suspension collapse. The headlines are specifically engineered to make you feel vulnerable.
They really are.
But taking a deep dive into the actual data usually reveals a highly controlled, incredibly manageable reality. Understanding the physics of dynamic toe alignment, knowing the realities of supply chain lot tracking, and seeing that a defect rate is actually just 5% of a specific production window. Having that knowledge makes you vastly better informed.
And significantly less overwhelmed.
Yes. When you understand the underlying mechanisms, you aren't at the mercy of a scary headline.
You can see the system working exactly as it should to prevent a tragedy.
Absolutely. And that leaves us with one final provocative thought to ponder as we wrap up today.
Okay, let's hear it.
We just spent this entire deep dive unpacking a potentially deadly flaw that was completely invisible to the naked eye. A piece of forged aluminum that passed visual inspection but was molecularly compromised.
Right.
And the only reason it didn't result in a family experiencing a highway disaster was because a supplier caught a discrepancy in their own factory logs thousands of miles away, well before a single part failed in the real world.
It forces you to rethink how much trust we put into the logistics networks we never even see.
It really does. It leaves you wondering, if this one terrifying flaw was caught quietly in a routine audit, how many other invisible potential disasters are being quietly averted every single day?
Probably thousands.
Right. In the unfathomably complex web of global automotive manufacturing, where millions of parts are forged, tracked, shipped, and bolted together every single hour, how many catastrophic failures are caught by a barcode scan or a factory data review before they ever reach a headline?
It's amazing to think about.
We started by talking about the expectation of buying an indestructible fortress. But maybe the real marvel of modern engineering isn't that the fortress never breaks.
No.
Maybe the real marvel is the massive, invisible army of supply chain auditors constantly testing the structural integrity of the walls, quietly replacing the weak stones long before you ever decide to lean against them.
I love that.
That is all we have for today's deep dive. Stay curious, keep looking past the headlines, and we will catch you next time.